Hi you guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I know it's been a while since I've made a video or I've uploaded a video, but thank you for tuning in. I wanted to talk about the time I was a side chick. So, I haven't been in a lot of relationships. I think when I first started my transition, like so many other women of trans experience, I was worried that no one was going to want to be with me. I was worried that no one was going to be attracted to me and that basically I would be like too much. So there was a part of me when I began my transition that acknowledged the fact that I would be alone. And I had to come to terms with that, you know what I mean? But it's kind of like hard to come to terms with something like that, because I think everybody wants to one day eventually find a partner. So, needless to say, in the beginning of my transition, I was not lucky in love, not at all. Until I met this one guy. I met him on an online dating site. And at this point, I'd pretty much given up on the idea of meeting guys. I was very, very disillusioned. But he sent me a message, and I'll never forget, because I was on my way to work. And I get this message, and immediately his profile spoke to me. And it spoke to me for the wrong reasons, you know. I'll admit, I was pretty naive and shallow when I went into that relationship. So let me paint a picture of what this guy looked like. He had blue-green eyes. He was like a bodybuilder, like very, very big, very, very muscular. He had like dark, like mousy brown hair. Yeah, and he was just like, no hate. I have nothing against him, but he was gorgeous. So we will call him Daniel. So Daniel sends me a message and tells me that he wanted to get to know me and this, that, and the other. And of course, this was a transgender dating site. So I'm like, okay. You know, I'm feeling this. We start like messaging each other. And girl, I was so into this boy. We would talk every single day. I mean, you know what it's like in the beginning of a relationship where you can't get enough of someone. And we did the normal cute things. We exchanged each other's WhatsApp numbers. We added each other on Facebook. It was just that sort of thing. So this is where the first red flag came up. He added me on Facebook. So he is a 22-year-old white guy, and he had 90 friends on his Facebook. All of his friends were of the same demographic. He only had black female friends between the ages of 21 to 25. Those were his only friends on Facebook. So let that sink in. This boy had no family on his Facebook account. Not a single cousin had he added. Nothing like that. He had no friends, not a single person from his high school, not a single person from his job. He just had these random black girls, 90 of them. So right off the bat, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that that was not his real Facebook account. And this was 4 years ago, back when Facebook used to be a thing. So that was my first kind of like, what's going on here? And I remember talking to my friend and asking what she thought of the whole thing. And to be honest, she just voiced out my fears. She was like, bitch, he is catfishing you. And it kind of made sense because I was looking at like the pictures and I'm like, they're all of these like bodybuilding pictures, but he had like, I think he had one profile picture and he had like 5 or 8 mobile uploads, and those were all of his pictures. He had less than 10 pictures on his Facebook account. Now, that was red flag number 2. It was like, you've had this Facebook account for like 3 years, but you've only taken under 10 pictures. So I was like, no, like, no, something wrong. Like, something is wrong here. So we started getting more comfortable, and that's when I asked him to send me a picture. And in the picture, he needed to basically write my name on it and send it to me via WhatsApp. So he first sends me a picture of like Mr. Bean. And I'm like, no, send me a picture of what you look like. And, he first questioned me. He was like, why? Why do you want to see it? And I was like, I just want to, look, I was upfront. I was like, I just want to make sure that the person I'm seeing in the pictures is the person that I'm talking to. He respected that answer, but he hesitated, which to me kind of like answered the question. I was like, bitch, you're being catfished. Why would anyone hesitate to take a picture? I mean, we live in one of the most like the shallowest generation of existence. Everyone is taking a selfie. Why would it be difficult to take a picture? Lo and behold, he sends me a picture with my name on it. And at this point, I'm kind of like, okay. Like, I felt like I wanted to ask him for more specific pictures, like put a spoon in your mouth, wear an orange t-shirt, and have Christabel like on a piece of paper and be standing on one leg. Something that you couldn't just Google and edit. But at the same time, I was like, I needed to be sly about it because I didn't really want to offend him because he was hesitant in sending the picture in the first place. So I thought of more creative ways to send pictures. Guys always send you nudes. Like, they always do. I mean, they send you a picture of a nude before they send you a smiley face with no context. Like, they just send them randomly. So he was sending me nudes as well. And I was like, okay, can you send one of you in a specific position wearing rugby shorts? And they need to be like either green rugby shorts or the rugby team's colors. He said that in an instant. He did not hesitate. So that's when I was like, okay, so the person in the picture is who I'm talking to. Then what gives? Like, still something's not adding up. At this point, my friend is in the background and she's like, girl, he obviously has a girlfriend. He probably has like this really racist girlfriend, or his family's super racist. Or, he's one of those guys that are into T-girls but is embarrassed about it. And that made sense. That definitely made sense. So, look, the relationship started to intensify, and he lived in a different town from me. He lived about 3 hours away from where I lived. But I decided, because I was young and I was in love and I thought that the relationship was going somewhere, that we should meet. So I decided to move back to my hometown. Now, my hometown is a suburb outside of the city that he lived in. So he lived in East London and I lived outside of East London, South Africa. So I moved back home, and obviously I'm super excited because I'm going to see Daniel. Mind you, Daniel had told me that he lived by himself. He lived with his, he lived by himself. He didn't live with his parents. And the day we were supposed to meet, girl, I go to East London, which was like 30 minutes away, and he told me that he wanted to meet me outside this hotel. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know, he'll pick me up outside this hotel, and then we'll go to his place, and then we'll chill for the weekend. So he was supposed to come, I think at like 4. He came at 5:30. I waited an hour and a half for this boy. An hour and a half. And by the time that he had gotten there, I was so like you're annoyed, but you're happy to see him. It was a weird kind of emotion. And I'll never forget just meeting him for the first time and him him getting there. He walks up, you know, he's a bodybuilder, so he's walking like this, strutting his stuff. And he's all like, unapologetic, no apology, no mention of the fact that I had to wait an hour and a half. Girl, like, I don't even, like, you know when you look back at your younger self and you just want to be like, girl, why were you being such a hoe? Why were you being such a dumb hoe for a dude? But, you know, it's 4 years ago. I'm a different person. I have way more self-confidence and self-esteem than what I had before. So he's like, okay, well, we're going into the hotel. And I'm like, wait, I thought we were going to go to your place. You told me we were going to chill and spend the weekend in your place. And he's like, no, I live with my parents. I'm like, no, you told me that you live by yourself. In fact, you told me that your parents visited you once and you had a fight with them. So what's the deal? He basically denies it, and I'm like, look, it's getting dark. We go into the hotel. You should have seen how this boy, like, walked in. He kind of reminds me, and I hate to say it, he kind of reminds me of Donald Trump. You know how, like, Donald Trump enters a room? He, like, conquers a room. He, like, occupies a room. I wish I could explain it better, but it almost was like he was a colonist going into, I don't know, like this unclaimed territory and just claiming it for himself. Yeah, he just walked in full of confidence or arrogance or whatever. And I'm like walking behind him, a little unimpressed. And we go to our hotel room. Girl, that's where things got hot and steamy. Like, it always, it surprises me how, like, you can be mad at someone, but if you find them sexy, somehow, some way, I don't know, for whatever reason, that has been lost to the mist of time. I get into that room, girl, I got thirsty for this boy. Like, Like, I'm not even gonna front and pretend like I'm some saint. I literally got in there and I was like, okay, I want my bodybuilder. So we started making out. He wasn't the best kisser. I could taste the peanut butter that he had been eating. So then we try to, do what grown folks do. I mean, we hooked up, but it wasn't. I feel like oftentimes when people talk on WhatsApp and about hookups and all of that, um, they overpromise and they underdeliver. So that's what it was. And that's what our meetings became, hotel rooms, never at his place, at awkward hours. And you know what this boy would do? He would leave as soon as we were done. He would never stay. This one night, he was like, oh, he's gonna spend the night, this, that, and the other. So then he tells me he wants to go buy cigarettes, and he asks me if I wanted anything, like if I wanted juice or something. And I was like, oh, can I just have gum? And he was like, okay, cool. I tell him I'm going to walk out with him, and he tells me that, no, I'll just be 5 minutes. This boy literally leaves the hotel and never comes back. Tells me that he's coming back, and he doesn't. Like, I can look back and laugh at this and be like, girl, like, why were you, I mean, he might have been cute, but the sex was not anything, it wasn't anything spectacular. So, eventually, after that last time where he had just left me, whereas he said he was coming back, I kind of had enough of him, and I decided that, you know what, whatever mystery or secret he has going on can remain a mystery. I'm out of this equation. So about 2 weeks passed since the last time I spoke to him or saw him or met him at a hotel. And I get a Facebook request, a friendship request on Facebook. And I look up the name, and I'm not going to say anyone's real name, but it's Deborah Matthews. So I'm like, oh, Daniel's last name is Matthews as well. Go into this woman's profile. You know when you scroll through the profile pictures, can the second picture not be Daniel and this woman? So I'm like, this is an older woman, so I'm thinking, okay, it's his mom. So I accept the friendship request. Immediately, this woman sends me a message. Immediately, she sends me a message. And she's like, hi, dear, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. How are you? She's like, she's great. How do you know my son? So I'm like, I'm with him. So as soon as I send that message, I start to see, when somebody's typing a message on Facebook, you can kind of see I see typing. She writes, with him in which sense? Romantically? ? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm his girlfriend. Even on his Facebook, it says, in a relationship with Christabel. And, I'm his WhatsApp profile picture, so I'm his girlfriend. So as soon as I say that, typing, I just see typing. She sends me a message and she's like, the boy is engaged. I'm like, engaged as in for marriage? and she's like as in for marriage. He's getting married to this girl. So I'm like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Like, I'm his profile picture. He's like, bitch, please stay in your lane. Don't act brand new. He has two numbers. You know how the men do. Like, you're cheating, so you have two numbers. She sends me the second number. I check it out. Lo and behold, there's Daniel, and there is his fiance, well, his wife now. So I'm like, but you know, when you're trying to like rationalize and then make sense of it, and you're like defending the stupidity that you've just been a part of, and I'm like, but on Facebook, it says that I'm in a relationship with him. She's like, bitch, stay in your lane. That's not his real Facebook account. She sends me a link to his other Facebook account. Sure enough, 350 friends. There's all his family. There are the family pictures. There are the people from high school. There is his whole life on display. That was just his cheating account. He was probably cheating with those other females too. I was just kind of like, never in my life have I been happier that I protected myself sexually from this guy. Girls, I mean, we are at the most risk of contracting HIV. And I say this because a lot of these dudes who cheat with us have girlfriends on the side and might even have other people on the side. They come telling us all these stories and making us promises about how they're going to make the Red Seas part. Girl, he's not going to do nothing for you but cheat and leave you with an STD. So, as she was telling me this, I'm just like, girl, I am so glad I've always been protecting myself. But then I was in an awkward position because she was like, please don't tell him that I told you this because we're not talking at the moment. And I had to honor that because, let's be real, I was a side chick. It was never that deep. Yes, I thought he was hella cute, but he wasn't mine to begin with. He belonged to somebody else. So I just let it go. And he sent me a message like a week later being like apologizing for some shit. And I was like, you know what, Daniel? It's been good. It's been good, but I'm out. So that's the story of how I was a side chick. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it's so long. Oh my god. But thank you so much. Bye.